there guys, and welcome. It is Niran here, and today it is time for me to bring you episode number 14 of our FIFA 16 Leicester City career mode. Now in today's episode, we are just trying to recover from what, just an absolute madness of an episode last time out. It was quite astonishing. In the two games, we got a last minute brace to beat Everton and reach the Capital One Cup final, as well as drawing with Spurs 1-1 in the Barclays Premier League. But we also made 3 deadline day signings. Now one of those guys is not at the club yet. He will arrive in July or June because he's on a pre-contract agreement. That was Nicholas Nkolu, the centre-back. We did make 2 other signings that will make an instant impact, hopefully, for the club in this episode. And the first being Kelechi Iheanacho, you see on the screen, the striker that we got on a 3-month loan, basically as a replacement for the newly injured Brildol Mbolo. And we got him on loan from Manchester City. And we've also got Kevin Wimmer, who we signed for £6 million. And you'll have seen those the attributes of those guys in the background. Wimmer right now, and I was thinking about Wimmer a lot more actually in between the episodes. We sold Robert Huth, a 31-year-old 77 overall centre-back, for 5.2 million, and we got Wimmer as a replacement for 6 million. That's a mad bit of business, because we only had to pay 800k more for a player who's 8 years younger. Quite astonishing, but he'll be making his debut today, as well as Thomas Muller for Manchester City, because we're playing them at the Etihad Stadium. There you can see the lineup. Wimmer will be partnering Riddervold for the first time since joining from Tottenham for £6 million. Mahrez and Sisto as the wingers. No Mbolo, of course, because he's injured, but there you could see Wimmer on the screen. But we're going forward in just a second minute. Inler finding Riyad Mahrez on his weak foot, but he forces a fantastic save from Willy Caballero in the Manchester City goal, nevertheless, and we're putting on some very early pressure in this game. Sisto once again finding Jamie Vardy, burning away from Otamendi with his lightning quick pace, but again he's denied by the Argentinian goalkeeper Caballero. A corner coming in the 15th minute. We are dominating Manchester City at their home ground, and Bruno Perez forcing another save from Caballero, this time from outside of the area. We were going forward again. Now it's N'Golo Kante finding Gökhan Inler. He's found Vardy there in the centre, and he blasts it past Caballero this time to make it 1-0 here at the Etihad Stadium. A fantastic finish from Vardy, and it's been coming. We have been dominating this game. City tactically are being outplayed in this first half, and we've got our rewards. A 1-0 lead there, thanks to Jamie Vardy with his 5th goal of the season in the Barclays Premier League. But as you can see, we're not settling for that, because Riyad Mahrez has lunged in to try and make a header. He's not been penalised, and he's got the ball off Otamendi. He skips inside on his left foot, and he makes it 2-0. Not a clue what just happened, but surely that should have been a foul against us. Mahrez just clattering into Otamendi, cutting inside past Elikun Mangala with his fantastic dribbling, and then slotting it past Caballero. It's a lovely finish, but rather lucky, and still, in the first half, we're still putting massive amounts of pressure on to try and make it 3-0. Vardy in again set through by Sisto, but this time he is denied once more. Into the second half, and City have finally arrived. They've finally woken from their slumber, if you like. Sisto losing the ball there on the edge of the area. Aguero turns Wimmer and finds the net fantastically to get a goal back for City and make it 2-1. A fantastic goal there from the Argentinian striker. Really nothing Wimmer could do, because him and Riddervold had been fantastically solid in this game. But we're going forward again with 10 minutes to go. City piling players forward, and that is just suicidal defending from Mangala. Vardy now with Okazaki in the centre, and that is as easy as you like. City flinging players forward, but just awful defending. Mangala stepping up, but Otamendi not doing the same, and it's ended up with a 2-on-1 situation. Vardy picks out Okazaki, and it is 3-1, and that is game over. Done deal, and we're going forward again with just 3 minutes to go to really seal this deal. Iheanacho's off the bench, so is Kamano. Francois Kamano finds the other substitute, Kelechi Iheanacho, against his parent club. He then finds Kamano into the centre for the other substitute, Nathan Dyer, and it is 4-1. A fantastic goal coming straight from the back there. Riddervold, I think it was, passing it out of Wimmer, and all the way from an attack for City and pressure from City, we score to make it 4-1. Lovely bit of interchanging play between Iheanacho, Kamano, and also Nathan Dyer to finish it off, and we win the game quite astonishingly with just a dominant performance against such a strong City team. We win the game 4-1. Jamie Vardy with man of the match. And that is just an astonishing performance. Absolutely incredible game, a 4-1 victory against Manchester City. You are unlikely to see a performance as good as that until the end of the season, or at all this season whatsoever. As you can see, getting some emails there from our centre-backs, our sort of bench centre-backs if you like. Liam Moore wanting to play more, in fact, because Robert Huth has been sold, but Wes Morgan saying he wants to be sold in the next transfer window. I would like to keep Wes Morgan ideally, but in the immediate future, neither of them are going to be playing the next game because we're playing Stoke City. And Kevin Wimmer and Jairo Riedewald, having played fantastically against City, will be starting this game again. On the topic of defending, we're still actually the best defensive team in the league, but as you can see, Andre Kramaric coming into the side to replace Okazaki for this game against Stoke, and we've also tried out Masuaku at CDM for this game, which means Schlupp is playing at left back. A few of you guys in the comments telling me I should play Masuaku at CDM because of his good stamina. Well, we're trying that out, and he's passed it to Jeffrey Schlupp, who cuts inside. Lovely 1-2 between himself and Inler. It's forced to save there from Jack Butland, but who is there? Jamie Vardy, the man who got the first goal against Manchester City, gets the first goal in this game as well on the 22-minute mark. And once again, we are winning. Brave header there from Jamie Vardy with the boots flying, but we are 1-0 up in a similar time to when we went 1-0 up against Manchester City. But Stoke are not lying down. They're putting up more of a fight than Manchester City did. And a good save there from Kasper Schmeichel, from Marco van Ginkel's strike. Odin Wingy there going close as well after a corner for Stoke, but he puts it just wide. Still in the first half, and Gökhan Inler, they're going for a long-range strike. And oh my word, I thought that was in at the time. I thought that was in. What a goal that would have been with his weak foot, I do believe. Nevertheless, we've actually got a man down, and I think it might actually be Gökhan Inler, and he's not getting up. We'll have to see whether the referee calls time on this period of play as Masuaku gets the ball off Schlupp, and he does indeed. Inler is down injured, and Dele Alli will have to come on and replace him. Hopefully that is not a long-term injury for the Swiss international. Nevertheless, 10 minutes to go. The substitute, Francois Camano, has pinched the ball off Marco van Ginkel. He's 1-on-1. Can he score his first goal for Leicester? You bet he can. Francois Camano makes it 2-0 to put the game beyond any sort of doubt with just 9 minutes to go. His new teammates are there to celebrate with him, and that is a fantastically composed finish from the Guinean winger. I'm not entirely sure where he's from actually, but Francois Camano, having signed from Bastia in January, gets his first goal for the club. But it's not over yet here. Poor crossfield pass there from Jairo Riedewald has led to Stoke getting a goal back. And I'm not going to lie, that was completely my fault. There was no way that was Riedewald's fault. And it's annoying because Riedewald and Wimmer, like the City game, have been massively solid. I'm really looking forward to using those guys as a centre-back partnership because they performed brilliantly. We do hold on to the 2-1 win in the end, despite that late goal for Jeff Cameron. And yet again, Jamie Vardy gets man of the match. However, I do believe there was another candidate, not only the centre-backs and of course our full-backs too, but Fuka Artem Masuaku. You guys have stumbled upon a gem here in playing him as a CDM. That little tackle there, that little phase of play, summing up his game. He was fantastic. I was worrying that his passing wouldn't be good enough, but he played really well in that CDM role, and he might have to play there quite a lot longer because Gökhan Inler has dislocated his shoulder and will be out for 8 weeks, so it's looking as if it could be an N'Golo Kante and Fuka Artem Masuaku centre defensive midfield partnership until Gökhan Inler, the Swiss international, is back from that injury. But moving on, after somewhat of an injury crisis we're picking up at the moment, that's Liam Moore and Bolo, and also now Gökhan Inler out as well. It's time to get into an FA Cup tie against Norwich, and given it's an FA Cup tie, we're playing a slightly weakened team, if you like. Delat, Morgan, Wimmer and Ben Chilwell coming to the side in defence, with Andy King and Ali as defensive mids, Francois Camano making his first start for the club, and Okazaki, and I do believe it was Kelechi Iheanacho up front. Yet again, we've got slightly corrupted footage, but it's not going to detract from this passage of play here. We've got Iheanacho, it's been passed out from the back, he's found Okazaki, who then finds Francois Camano on the overlap, and that is a fantastic finish from Francois Camano. Lovely goal from himself there in the 9th minute to make it 1-0. That was a lovely passage of play because it came all the way from defence and it ended in a goal. And Francois Camano has scored again, but Norwich should have scored again, or scored first time there, with Picardi hitting the post. He puts it to the back post there, but a vital header away from Ben Chilwell, who I've been told to play a little bit more as well. Into the 80th minute, there's not much happened in this game. Norwich putting players forward, and Stankovic has found Richie Delat. And yet again, one of our full-backs has scored. It was a lovely bit of play again. Dele Alli there involved, I think Camano involved as well. Simonis Stankovic off the bench along with Hamza Chowdhury and Tom Lawrence. He was involved in that goal and passed it to Richie Delat, who then coolly put it in. Dele Alli yet again breaking away, though Norwich putting pressure on again. This to make it 3-0. It's back to Stankovic again. He finds Dele Alli in the centre, who passes it across to Kelechi Iheanacho, and he scores there, making it 3-0, getting his first goal for the club. He'll only be here for a few episodes, but realistically, stylistically, he's making an instant impact, much like Kevin Wimmer, his fellow, January signing teammate, if you like. And Kelechi Iheanacho makes it 3-0. Very brief highlights in that one, mainly because it was a cup tie, but also because of the footage looking slightly weird. But I hope you guys are liking the fact I'm playing some of the younger players in these games. That's Ben Chilwell, Iheanacho, who played in that one, Hamza Chowdhury, Tom Lawrence, and who was the other one? Stankovic, who also came off the bench, and Kamano playing very well, really liking him. His form is fantastic, and as you can see, Pione Sisto picked up a knock in that game, so he's out for 5 days. So that means now, for the next game against Arsenal, in about a week's time, we've now got 4 players out injured. Sisto, Liam Moore, as well as Gokhan Inlet and Bril Donald Mbolo. So the training of Kamano is slightly vital now, because he's actually going to have to play the next game against Arsenal. And as you can see in the vote, you guys told me that you wanted me to train Vardy and Kamano, as well as Bril Donald Mbolo, but I set up that vote before Mbolo then got injured, so I can't actually train him because he's sidelined out with his injury. As you can see, though, we are training Jamie Vardy and Francois Kamano. We'll be training them 3 times, and Jamie Vardy at the moment is very close to going up to a 72 overall, and despite not being the youngest player in the squad, 29 years of age, we could actually see him go up to 72 overall, and indeed we do. Jamie Vardy is now a 72 overall striker, and having performed very well in this episode already, I'll be looking forward to seeing how he performs next time out with that overall boost. Francois Kamano as well, very close to 73. And that leads me to ask you guys, who do you want me to train next episode? You'll see a straw poll in the description. That will be the only straw poll for this time, but you'll see a normal question of the day probably next time out as well. But who would you like me to train for next episode? I don't mind training players that were trained today, i.e. Francois Kamano or Jamie Vardy. That is absolutely fine, but just drop that in the vote in the description below. As you can see, though, this is how the table was affected by today's episode. We are 9 points behind Chelsea. We're at the top of the table, but we've played a game less. Now that's quite interesting. If we win that game in hand, we're only 6 points, would you believe, away from the top of the table. Newcastle there joint with us on points, with United only 1 point back as well in 4th. Arsenal and Stoke there in 5th and 6th, as well as Spurs and City way down there in 8th. Pretty poor start to the season as well for Liverpool. Well, you can say start. We're over halfway through the season and Liverpool's still down there in 10th place. But nevertheless, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Career Mode. Quite an astonishing one. What a win. 4-1 win against Manchester City, as well as 2 other wins. Probably the first time we've won every game in an episode since this series began, of course, with the 2-1 win against Stoke, and then a comfortable 3-0 win to see us into the quarterfinals of the FA Cup in the 5th round of the FA Cup against Norwich. But if you did go on to enjoy that video, feel free to smash the likes button. 75 likes, as always, on one of these Career Mode videos would be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you are new around here and you haven't already, and comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much, as well as voting on the player you would like me to train in the next episode. But nevertheless, it has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.